Let's now talk to Colonel Rich Outzen, who's a geopolitical analyst and a non-resident senior fellow at the Atlantic Council, who is there in Turkey. Colonel Outzen, always a pleasure to talk to you. Mossad agents in Turkey, spying networks, spy versus spy there in Istanbul. What do you make of all of this?
Well, in a sense, it's nothing new. If you are familiar with the James Bond movies, From Russia with Love was filmed in Istanbul. And the history of many different powers from back to World War I, even before that, spying on one another in Istanbul is sort of as natural as one might think for a city that's located at the confluence of two or three continents, if we're generous and think of Africa as well. Now, what's interesting here is the pace of activity has really picked up between Israelis and the Iranians with regards to making Turkey sort of a chessboard for espionage. Now, it's true that twice now within the last 2 years, not Israelis, but groups of Turkish citizens and third country nationals that were suspected of spying on behalf of Mossad, the Israeli Foreign Intelligence Agency, have been arrested. And it's also true that groups of Iranians, Revolutionary Guard connected Iranians that were rumored to be or suspected of planning assassinations of Israeli citizens in Turkey, in Istanbul specifically, have been arrested as well. So Turkey, I think, has a very strong counterintelligence.
All right, Colonel Outzen, of course, accusations are going to fly on both sides. Anybody's guess whom you should believe. Now, there has been a peace process taking place in the Middle East, and then fresh violence, fresh escalations out there. How do you see this situation going? Do you think it's going to escalate any further?
I don't think so. I think in this region in particular, in the Middle East, people understand that espionage is simply part of the game. It's not exactly war, and it's not exactly peace. It's this battle in the shadows and in the gray zones, and they all do it. All the large countries of the Middle East have external espionage operations or information gathering operations. I think there are certain written rules of the road. Now, I'm actually more concerned about the content of the Iranian efforts because they were actually talking about assassinating Israeli citizens or Turkish Jewish citizens on Turkish soil. That's a very major violation of national sovereignty. What the Mossad ring that is reputed to have been apprehended was accused of doing was conducting espionage on an Iranian company that was doing business in Turkey, probably with an eye to connections with the Iranian intelligence or perhaps with regards to other activities directed against Jewish and Israeli people, or sanctions busting, right? Because Iran is under major programs of sanctions. So that sort of corporate or security espionage, I think when these sort of arrests are made and people are extradited or punished, it does not disrupt the major state-to-state relations. I would be more worried if there had been a successful assassination, for instance, in the Iranian case, because that goes beyond the bounds of normal espionage.
Colonel Rich Outzen, always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us with that very valuable perspective.